Darts Premier League Night 4 is here. My name is Corbin from the Parlay Club, and I've got the best bets and the plays the books do not want you knowing about. Let's get right into it. Quickly going over last week. Clients went 3-0 last week, which is now an incredible 11-0 run on Darts Premier League client plays. And we're just going to look to continue the streak here. I just quickly want to go over one of the plays that we had. Two of the plays. So we had Van Veen on the money line, parlayed with some other juicy bits, and then Humphreys money line as well. They were both around I think they were like minus 200 to minus 250 range. And I had a bunch of people asking why I didn't put the two together to have a parlay of Van Veen and Humphreys. Instead, I split them up into two 3% plays that were parlayed with some juicy things to bring it. I think it was down somewhere between the minus 150, minus 110 range. First reasons first, obviously, I've mentioned it so many times, but these formats can cause upsets. It's such a quick format, first to six. If I put both of them together to get the same payout, it would have had to be in a 5% play. To risk 5% on a parlay like that, I think it's kind of crazy. I like both of them to win, but it's all about risk and bankroll management. The way I did it, putting the two in separate plays, if both win, I win 6%, so that's better than the 5%. But if one loses, I basically break even or make a tiny juice loss. And as I said, in this kind of format, the extra insurance of having them separately was so good. But it also, as I said, pays off more because you end up with 6% instead of 5%, and it's basically less risky. So, yeah, as always, drop a comment with your predictions down below or any questions, and let's get right into it. The first match of the week is Luke Littler versus Johnny Clayton. Now, I'm going to be honest, this line of minus 400 on Littler is astounding. I mean, it's a weird game overall. I mean, Littler got a bye last week from Van Goen being ill and withdrawing, but then he lost 6-1 to Clayton in the second round. I mean, to me, Littler just looks so uninterested in the Premier League right now. But then again, every week I keep saying that I'm just expecting him to suddenly just click into gear and just say, like, now it's like my time, and then he'll be unstoppable. And I said it last week, but it kind of feels the same. It just kind of feels inevitable that this kind of week is the week he turns up. I say all of that, and minus 400 is still outrageous against someone like Johnny Clayton. So the plus 2.5s, the overs, all of them are in play this week. That loss last week, coupled with the fact of the European tour, so they played one of those smaller tournaments that I mentioned. Actually, there were three. There was the European tournament, which was slightly bigger, and then they had two of the player championships, which are quite the smaller ones. We'll get into that in a second. And he tore through the field, and it's like, is that a show you all like I'm still here and I'm still the best kind of moment? Like he tore. I can't remember all the names, but I know he played Van Veen in the final. I know every match he basically won by like 3 or 4 legs, if not more. It's kind of like, does he continue that momentum and just say, like, because obviously he's had a fair bit of criticism going into week 4. He hasn't really performed in any of the weeks so far. Does kind of feel like a remind everyone I'm still here and I'm still the best kind of vibe to this game. But then Clayton, I think, reached the final, or he got quite far in the Players' Championship. He was still playing until late today. I'm recording this on the Wednesday. I don't know when he's traveling to Dublin, if he's traveling tonight or tomorrow. I don't think it's going to take his toll. I don't think it's not like he's going to a European country and it's particularly far away. But still, traveling on the day of or the day before doesn't seem ideal. But he's been playing so well. His averages are all high. I think the only thing you can do with this is maybe play some kind of over, or as I said, even the Clayton plus 3.5 is only minus 235. That is bonkers because we know Littler, even in the best of times, starts quite slow. But then I am talking about, in effect, fading Luke Littler, which is always tough to do. So I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on this completely. Again, minus seven. Sorry, not minus. Over 7.5. It's only minus 575. So in theory, that's a 6-2 win for Littler. I think Clayton at least gets two legs. If I'm gonna play anything, this minus 575 sounds pretty good to me. But I haven't got anything client play official on this game yet. Bunting versus Humphreys. What more do I need to say about Bunting? Every week he's just not there. I mean, he's played well. Well, not well. He's played okay in some games in like little batches. Like I remember he was 4-0 up against Clayton, but he just can't get over the line. Uh, Humphreys is on fire. He beat him 6-1 a few days ago in one of these in the Players Championship, one of the smaller tournaments. He's won the last 4 games by at least 2 legs, so minus 1.5 legs, which is only minus 145. Seems kind of ridiculous. And then you always talk about the psychological effect on Bunting. You can see it every week. It's a repeat of last year. He's so down on himself and he doesn't believe it himself. And the fact that Humphreys beat him 6-1 just a few days ago, that's going to be playing on Bunting's mind. He's going to know that he's basically walking into a death trap. Like, I do not see a way in which he wins this game at all, to be honest. So yeah, minus 1.5, I think is a great play. And I will be using him in a client play. Again, gonna hesitate to say it is first to sixth. Anything can happen. Do not go crazy on these kind of bets. Just want to remind everyone, client plays are official up at DubClub. Can get a monthly, yearly subscription for as little as just over $2 a day. Like, what else can you get with that kind of value anywhere? Plus 140 units last year, already up 50 odd units roughly this year. Not been a good last 7 days. We struggled with some brutal tennis losses. We had a minus 1400 Diminor money line in a parlay. Ended up serving for the match. It was like minus 5,000 at one point and still managed to lose. Hernandez versus Strickland in the UFC main event. We had over 2.5, lost by 5 seconds. But these kind of things happen. That's why I always say partner up for monthly, yearly access for all the client plays. I can assure you by the end of the probably by the end of the month, end of the year, will be up even more. Huge weekend ahead. I'm going to have a 5% golf play. MotoGP's back along with all the other soccer, darts, everything. As I mentioned, 11-0 now on darts run, which is quite frankly incredible. Every play, obviously, I bet myself, fully transparent, all the records, tracked, spreadsheets, everything in the description below. So yeah, check that out. Highly recommend partnering up and joining as a client on DubClub. Back to the action. I think next up we have Van Gogh and Price. So, gonna preface this. I have no idea if Van Gogh is playing yet. Obviously he withdrew last week with some illness, which I think they said he was on antibiotics for. I don't know what illness he has. It hasn't come out at all that I've seen anyway. He obviously skipped all the smaller tournaments. So I haven't really heard anything. I don't know if he's going to play. And if he does, what kind of shape is he in? Like, is it one of those illnesses that he's been taking the drugs and kind of feeling okay for? Or has he just been sat in bed, not practicing and not throwing a dart for like 2 weeks? So I'm unsure what Van Gogh we're getting. The plus only being plus 15 suggests that he is going to play and the books expect him to be firing. Because otherwise, Price at minus 150 seems great. Price has been on fire recently. He won the Players Championship. Again, not sure if the travel is a concern, as I mentioned, for Clayton. But Price at minus 115 does feel kind of good if this match does go ahead. What I like even more is probably this under 180s. Again, if I'm expecting Van Gogh to be off it a little bit, Price hasn't been the biggest 180 hitter so far this year. He's played well and he's had high averages, but hasn't really got into the 3, 4, 5 180s himself. Van Gogh notorious for getting 1 or 2, maybe even 3 180s. So yeah, I quite like this under 5.5, but again, not a client play just yet. If Price is going to win, I think, if they play. Who knows if he withdraws again, Van Gogh, and so we'll wait and see. And then the last match of the day is Van Veen versus Rock. Well, where'd you start with Josh Rock? I I faded him last week, as I said, with Luke Humphries, but I didn't feel like he did an awful lot wrong, to be honest. He averaged 97. He had 66% on his checkouts. It kind of just felt like Humphries was on another level completely to Rock. Not that Rock did anything wrong, it's just Humphries just had one of those kind of games where I don't think anyone could have stopped him. I think he averaged like 105, 106, like almost perfect on checkouts. You don't stop those kind of performances. Van Veen, on the other hand, he's been playing good, but it's not without his wobbles. It feels like he hit a 9 darter in the loss. He reached the final of the European Tour. Hit a 9 darter versus Luke in the final. Still lost, obviously, but most of his averages are still around or under the 100 mark, and his checkouts haven't been great yet. He continues to just win. I wonder if that's kind of what the books are looking at with this line, because like that plus 1.5, they're basically saying Rock. This is going to be a 6-5 Van Veen, which then having it go 6-5 and then being minus 165, like those plus 1.5 on the money line for Van Veen don't really tie up together. I think I'm probably going to pass on this game completely. I do lean Van Veen to win, but I think the plus 2.5 is the safer bet. They don't have it at DraftKings. They have it at some other books. Maybe over 7.5. It might be a week for the over 7.5. So I mentioned the one with Clayton. Actually, no, you do not trust Bunting to win 2 legs. So maybe like a Humphreys money line and one of these over 7.5 gets you a pretty solid play, I think. And then we have to mention the real MVP of this year is the bullseyes. The round robin of everyone not to have a bullseye. What are the odds on it this week? It's come down. It's only plus 297. The books are slowly catching on. Again, we're not parlaying the 4 together. We're doing the 2-pick round robin, which basically gives you a combination of each of them together. Last week, I had already put in the round robin with all the 4 games. We had one bullseye checkout. I forgot who it was. I think it was Clayton. Basically ended up being a break even or like a small loss. It was like 0.01 unit or something. So I'm not counting it. It's basically just a void because it basically broke even. But the other weeks, other 2 weeks, so week 1 and week 2, there was none. You basically put all the combinations together, and if all 4 win, you basically double your money, or that's how the odds were last time. If you go 3 and 1, you make a small profit, and then 2 and 2 is a loss. It's the way it is with the 2-pick round robin. It's so much better to do that than the if say Van Gogh gets cancelled, you're then doing 3 games round robin. So if one loses, you basically make a loss. So yeah, I'd wait and see if Van Gogh is playing before putting in that play. But it's another one I'm just going to continue to ride every single game, whatever happens. I think you're going to be up at the end of the year, even if it went on a 2 or 3 week stretch of not hitting, basically. As I said, if you want to partner up, join the client plays, all of that stuff, monthly access, yearly access, just over $2 a day, which I think is an absolute steal. Tennis plays, golf plays, huge weekend. I'm not going to go over it all again. So yeah, drop a comment, join the client plays on DubClub, and I wish you all good luck.